Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So today we are checking out Lady Deathstrike. Lady Deathstrike is our new card release for this week. She's a 5-cost, 3-power that reads, on reveal, destroy each card here with less power than this. So that will be affecting both sides of the board, both for you and your opponent. And she is going to be a Series 5 release. Actually, all the cards coming out this month are Series 5. Not a really great thing if you're trying to use tokens, but I suppose it is what it is. Lady Deathstrike is not a card I would personally recommend. I think this is probably the weakest card of the month. I think there are going to be a handful of people out there who do want to try and do some fun combo stuff with this card. So maybe if you're one of those folks, you can stay tuned to the decks we're going to look at here in a minute. But I think if you're trying to figure out, hey, which week is the one I want to go for, Lady Deathstrike's week here doesn't seem overly appealing to me. We can see the other cards and variants that are available on the left here. The Mech Lady Deathstrike, then MODOK and his variant, and Stature and her variant. I think a lot of players who have wanted MODOK or Stature have had quite a good amount of time to get a hold of them. However, I'm sure there are still a bunch out there who do want to try them out, who don't have them yet. MODOK, obviously a very core piece in discard. Discard really doesn't function remotely the same without it. And Stature kind of building her own archetype with Black Bolt and one of the other upcoming cards potentially in Silver Samurai. So overall, I think this is a pass week unless you are really, really interested in either MODOK or Stature and Lady Deathstrike. But overall, I think the upcoming weeks are looking like a lot better to me personally. So I'm going to be skipping on this one. I have the tokens. I could get it. I just don't think the card's going to be that good. And at Series 4, I probably would have taken a risk just for fun because I do think this will be a fun card to mess around with. But at Series 5, if you're not opening the Spotlight caches to go for it, the price is just way, way too high, in my opinion. So if you are planning on picking up Lady Deathstrike, let's take a look at the decks we have for her. First up is the Lady Negative deck. This is actually just a slight iteration on my favorite version of Mr. Negative right now. I'm a big fan of Mr. Negative, and I found a lot of success with essentially this shell. The only card being different here, as opposed to my normal list, is I run Psylocke over Lady Deathstrike, and I think there's a good chance that ends up being more optimal, but if you do want to try out the new card, Negative seems like a neat place to run her because we can get her for a reduced cost, so she'll only cost 3 once she's negative flipped, and she'll have more power, so she's more likely to be able to deal with an opposing lane. This also has some synergy with our Null, as we can destroy stuff, and that makes our Null bigger. Or we could even do some wacky shenanigans of getting Lady Deathstrike down into Zola. So we blow up a bunch of the stuff that is below 5 in one lane, and then we use Zola to copy her in the other lanes and blow more stuff up there. This could also be useful for getting rid of things we don't really want on our board, which is sometimes an issue that the negative decks have, or just, removing a Mr. Negative that's slightly reducing our power. Next up, we have our Destroy focused deck. This is just jamming in pretty much the majority of the Destroy cards. We have Lady Deathstrike as one of our 5-drops alongside Nimrod, so we can go in the Nimrod direction or the Deathstrike direction, depending on what we draw and what is better for the current game we're in. Obviously, Death always going to be a mainstay in these Destroy decks as our main payoff. A lot of simple Destroy fodder like Bucky, Yondu, and Wolverine to help give us stuff to destroy. Shuri has been really, really good with both Nimrod, and I think will also be good with Lady Deathstrike herself, and then Null as a bit of an additional payoff that we can just slam a big thing on the final turn to hopefully close out the game. Then we have a ramp deck here. So this previously was kind of known as Sand Ramp, but to be honest, I don't think Sandman is actually that amazing in the deck anymore. And I think you're better off just trying to do more powerful things than playing a 5-3 that limits your opponent. Now, Lady Deathstrike is also a 5-3, so again, she might not be the most powerful thing in the world, but we're trying her out in the Sandman spot. We do have access to the Zola combo here with Black Panther, but Zola is a bit more versatile in this deck since we can cheat out our stuff earlier on. So we have a bunch of really good targets for it, whether it be something like Leader, Doom, Odin. We could even do it on Jubilee to pull out more stuff from our deck if we don't draw some of our bigger threats. Electro and Wave are serving as our main ramp package, and then Jubilee acting as a bit of pseudo ramp of cheating out a big thing if we don't happen to get our other pieces of ramp in time. Jeff, always really handy, lets us move our power around and can be played through the Electro effect, and Nebula as the premier 1-drop for this style of deck. And last but not least, we have our Thanos Destroy version. I think this one likely is going to be better than the initial Destroy version I showed. I think Thanos Destroy is just a bit more versatile because of the stones. Stones give you more stuff to blow up, which makes your death cheaper a lot of the time. And Lady Deathstrike can also blow up some of your own stones that you don't care about, as well as opponent stuff to either reduce your death or bump up your null. We're also running Wave in this list, so we can cheat out one of our big threats like Null, Thanos, or Death early, or just using her in combination with some stones or a 2-drop on turn 5 to limit the opponent to only playing 1 card on the final turn. And that's going to wrap it up for our Day 1 Lady Deathstrike decks. So as always, links will be in the description below for you to download or import the decks. Let me know what you think about this card. Are you going to be going for this card? Are you going to be going for some of the other stuff in the Spotlight caches? Or are you going to be skipping for some of the other cards later this month, or some of the really cool stuff we have upcoming in September? Let me know in the comments below, but that's going to wrap it up for this one. If you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.